All right. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for joining us live as we do this discussion. Very, very important discussion. Good to have you here as well. Good evening. Good evening. Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It doesn't. I don't know where you're joining us from. So wherever you are, that's your greeting. Good to have you here. I'm Dr. Kelvin. You're welcome to Wellness 360. We do this every Thursday at 6 p.m. So welcome. If you're joining us on Facebook, don't forget to subscribe to this live. Subscribe to my channel so you can get regular health and wellness updates. Very important. If you're on TikTok, well, you know what to do. Follow me and learn about your health. Very, very important, because obviously your health is the most important thing. Your most important asset is the one thing that you really can't do without. Literally speaking, you can't do without your health. So, you know, you need to pay some particular attention to your health and things related to it, things that matter to it. So you're welcome to this live session. We're going to be discussing a very, very important subject for both men and women. Yes, even though the women might tell you that it doesn't apply to them, it really does apply to them. So you're all welcome. Let me just quickly sort out some technical issues and then we are going to go live. Okie doke. All right, so if you are joining us, remember to share this with your friends, share this with your network, let them also come join us so we can all learn together. You know, we're going to talk about some very important stuff, so share this, drop some hearts as well wherever you're joining us from. You can also leave a comment, let us know where you're joining us from. In the comment section, type your name and type where you're joining this live from. To be good to know who is here with me. You're welcome, each and every one of you. Good to have you here. Once again, I'm Dr. Kelvin. I'm your wellness consultant, which means your health is my topmost priority. And as we do here every Thursday, we talk about our health on the Wellness 360, which is a segment that I come live and I talk about a particular health subject, a particular health topic of relevance. And so you're welcome once again. Let's do this together. All right, now this evening we are talking about erectile dysfunction and impotence. Erectile dysfunction and impotence. So it's a very, very important subject. So you definitely want to invite somebody to join us so that we can all learn together. Great. Okay, so erectile dysfunction and impotence. What is it? What are they all about? I mean, what animal is that? Well, it's a pretty straightforward subject, really. I mean, erectile dysfunction just means that your erection is not functioning normally. So that's pretty much all it means, right? But by definition, erectile dysfunction, we are talking about, it's two things really: a difficulty in getting an erection, and two, a difficulty sustaining an erection. So so assuming you overcome that first hurdle and you actually do get an erection, now the erection does not last long. It does not last long. So those are the two things, the two components of erectile dysfunction. So the first one is that you struggle to achieve an erection, and the second thing is that should you actually achieve that erection, it does not stay long. So erectile dysfunction is very, very different from premature ejaculation. Yes, some people who have erectile dysfunction will also suffer premature ejaculation, but the two of them are not necessarily the same. In fact, they are not the same, and they don't necessarily occur at the same time. So erectile dysfunction, very different from premature ejaculation. Impotence, on the other hand, is a spectrum, right? So erectile dysfunction, if not checked, could progress to impotence, which is where you cannot have an erection at all. So you cannot have an erection at all. That's impotence. If you have an erection but it doesn't last long, or if you struggle to get that erection, then you have erectile dysfunction. So that's the distinguishing factor between all those three concepts: erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, and impotence. And we need to distinguish these ones because their treatment modalities are not necessarily the same. So they have different treatment modalities. So you need to identify which is which, so like you treat them appropriately, and then the person can get his happiness back, and indeed her happiness as well. Because if your partner struggles with erection, it can be distressing for the female partner as well. So definitely, this is a very relevant subject to both sexes. Now, if you are joining us, remember you can share this with your network. Invite people to join us so that we can all learn together and improve our knowledge when it comes to our health, so that we can avoid getting misinformed, because there's definitely a lot of misinformation out there. People spreading all sorts of false information, causing unnecessary fear and panic. So we want to avoid all of that by making sure we get the information from the right source. And this is definitely one of the best places to get your health information from. So once you're here, remember to subscribe to the channel as well, and let's build it together. Okay, so now let's talk about erectile dysfunction. It's actually normal for a man to have occasional erectile dysfunction. You might find yourself in a situation where, due to one reason or another, the woman is ready, but you are unable to perform. You're unable to get an erection, or it takes a long time for you to get an erection, or just when you're about to get into the action, the erection vanishes. It is normal if this happens occasionally, but where it becomes a part of your pretty much your routine, where every time you try to have sex, you struggle to have an erection, and this actually becomes a source of distress for you or your partner, then you have an erectile dysfunction. This is very important. It's important that we understand that it's okay to struggle with erection every now and then, occasionally. That's okay. It's not a big deal per se. Every man at some point has had an issue of erectile dysfunction at some point, but that person did not end up in the hospital because it was just a one-off thing. It was just something that happened because maybe he was distracted or had a lot going on, stress. Something was not right at that particular time. That's why he struggled to achieve an erection. That's okay, but it should not begin to disrupt your life, because once it gets there, then there's a problem. So you want to make sure that if it's something that is affecting you, is disrupting your daily activity or your daily sexual activity, then you need to report for intervention to be started, so that you can get your happiness back, pretty much. All right, so now what are some of the causes? Or before we talk about causes, let's understand a little bit about erection. What causes erection? Now erection is a very, very important part of a man's life, because obviously without an erect penis, it would be nearly impossible to deposit semen in the vagina, with the resultant effect of achieving pregnancy naturally. So erection is very, very important. But erection basically is all about, it's just blood flowing into your penis. When the blood flows into your penis, when the penis is engorged with blood, it becomes erect. And the length of time that the blood stays in the penis would be the length of time that your penis will stay erect. So there are mechanisms in the body to ensure that once you are aroused, or once you find yourself in a position or in a situation where you want to have sex, the blood vessels in the penis respond to stimuli from the brain and hormones like testosterone to open up. So they open up to receive blood. When there's no arousal, the blood vessels are closed up. At least the volume of blood that goes there is very, very small. So that's why you don't have an erection persistently. But once you get aroused, the blood flowing into the penis increases, and this results in the penis becoming engorged. This results in the penis becoming engorged and becoming erect. So then the erect penis would then be used for the purpose for which it became erect. You understand? Now, once the blood goes in there, the signals are sent to the brain again to now close off the blood vessel, so that the blood inside the penis does not come out. So then the signals are sent, the blood vessels shut, the doors are closed, the blood stays in the penis, and the penis remains erect. So that's pretty much what erection is. So it's blood vessels in your penis that get engorged with blood. That causes your penis to become erect. And I mean, anybody who has seen a penis, or anybody who has a penis, will see that there's a lot of loose skin around the penis when it's not erect. That loose skin is to accommodate the penis when it finally does become erect. So the penis will become erect, and it would accommodate all that blood in there, so that you can use it use it very, very well. So now, if with this description in mind, if you have a problem where the blood vessels in the penis do not open up to receive blood, or they do not open up fast enough for blood to go in there, you can understand how you will struggle to achieve erection. So that's the first part of erectile dysfunction, where people struggle to achieve erection because the blood is not going into the penis, either because the signals are not being sent to the vessels to open up, or the signals are being sent, but the vessels are just not able to open up to receive the blood, the blood that is coming in. So that's one aspect. Or if you do achieve the erection, but the erection is not sustained, you lose it quickly. Because when the signal is now sent, after the blood vessels are filled with blood, the signal is sent for the blood vessels to close up, but that signal is not received by the vessel. So then the vessels stay open and the blood simply flows out. So then you lose your erection. So that's the second aspect of erectile dysfunction. And so depending on what the cause of the erectile dysfunction is, you can be suffering from either difficulty achieving erection or difficulty sustaining erection based on what I've just explained. And this is actually what happens to a lot of people in the discussion we are having. And if this progresses and is not checked, then it results in a condition called impotence, as we said earlier. So impotence is the complete absence of erection, whereas erectile dysfunction is difficulty getting an erection or difficulty sustaining that erection. It's very important for us to distinguish between the two so that we treat accordingly. So very, very important. So that's why I'm spending a lot of time to explain this to you so that you understand it well. But if you do have any question or any feedback, please put it in the comment section and I'll respond to it quickly. If you are joining us as well, please don't forget to subscribe as well to the channel so that we can learn some good information when it comes to health and wellness. Very important. All right, and you can also drop some hearts. Let me know that you can hear me. Drop some hearts in there. Let's see, make sure that everybody can hear me loud and clear. But we're going to continue anyway. All right, so now what are the likely causes of erectile dysfunction? What are the likely causes of erectile dysfunction? Well, the most common cause of erectile dysfunction is actually stress. Stress is the most common cause of erectile dysfunction, and indeed it's also one of the easiest cause to actually deal with, because once you remove the stress, the erectile dysfunction would automatically fix itself, and so it's important that we need to prioritize stress management techniques. This is very, very important, because if you're always constantly under pressure, your body goes into overdrive. I'm sure you may have heard about fight or flight response. There are hormones in your body whose job is to prepare you to fight or to flee. So if there is danger, these hormones kick in and they activate your muscles, they activate your brain. Open up your eyes. You can see clearer when you are under pressure. Like when you are scared, you can actually see clearer than when you are not scared, because the hormones have been activated to make you find a way of escape. So that's how they work. Now, these hormones, or this situation where you are ready to fight or flee, it antagonizes your sex hormones. In other words, think about it. If a lion was to enter your bedroom, do you really think that is the best time to have an erection or try to have sex? No, it doesn't even make sense. And so the mechanisms that are put in place to help you escape the lion will also prevent you from getting an erection. And so if your stress levels are persistently raised on a daily basis, it means that your stress hormones are also raised to help you deal with the stress. And because the stress hormones are raised, you are not going to have a good or a strong enough erection if you even wanted to have sex. And so it's important that you manage your stress so that your stress hormone levels also come down, because once they go up, then you have a condition called hormonal imbalance, where the rise in the stress hormones will cause a drop in your sex hormones. And so whether you are male or female, your sex drive will go down as your stress level goes up. And so human beings are not meant to work under pressure all the time. Of course, some pressure is good. Deadlines are good. It helps you to work efficiently, but you can't always be working to a deadline. You need to take some time off or find ways and means of dealing with the stress, because stress is the most common cause of erectile dysfunction. And on that note, it's a stress that also causes every man to occasionally experience erectile dysfunction. Now, stresses come in so many different forms. You can have the psychological stress, you can have financial stress, relationship stress, work stress, all of them. The body responds to all of them the same way. Your stress hormones will go up. And the stress hormones you are talking about are adrenaline and noradrenaline. They are the two most important stress hormones that we have. And they help us to, fight or flee. But in this case, they also prevent you from achieving your sexual desires. And so if you don't manage your stress, you can't have sex. Very important. All right, but moving away from stress, there are other causes of erectile dysfunction that are also very prominent in the list. And let me precede this by saying that men generally are not good at taking care of their health, and that's a major problem. Now, I'm a wellness consultant, so I deal with this all the time. Women would quickly rush into hospital if something small was to go wrong with them. Men, on the other hand, would only come to hospital when that thing has become a big deal that is preventing them from going about their normal activity. And so because of this, it's because of this fact, it's why a lot more men, for instance, will die from hypertension than women, even diabetes than women, because that is how, I don't know if that's how men are built biologically or psychologically. We ignore our health to our detriment. And so as part of my campaign, I'm encouraging men to be a bit more health conscious so that we can catch some of these things and deal with them early, so it doesn't affect us, it doesn't cause complications in our lives. Very important. All right, but moving on. Hypertension is also a cause of erectile dysfunction. Now, this is very important because a lot of men, now those of you joining me on YouTube, if you go through my YouTube videos, there's actually a video where I spoke about how hypertension affects your sex life, and I've also done a video about how diabetes affects your sex life as well. A lot of men think that it is drugs that treat hypertension that will cause them to develop sexual dysfunction. But the reality is that the disease hypertension itself can cause erectile dysfunction. In fact, it will cause erectile dysfunction if you don't do anything about it. Remember in the beginning, I mentioned that the whole thing about erection is a function of blood going into the blood vessels, right? The blood vessels that are in the penis is blood that goes in the fills it up, and then it's closed off and the erection is sustained. So that's that. Now, if the pressure of the blood going into these vessels is too high, as in the case of hypertension, that pressure will cause damage to the blood vessels. So the blood vessel will have damage because of the high pressure. It's kind of like if you ever have a water hose and you close up the mouth of the water hose and you open the tap, the water hose will balloon out, and eventually it will start hose will start poking to start getting, how do I call it, the pressure, the buildup of pressure will cause the water hose to burst. It's the same thing that happens in the penis. When the pressure from your heart is so high, poorly controlled hypertension, it can cause your blood vessels to become damaged. And when these blood vessels become damaged, a condition called atherosclerosis begins to form. Now, Fred, I've seen your question about high cholesterol. Yes, I'm coming to that. A condition called atherosclerosis is going to be formed where cholesterol, and that's why your question is important, where cholesterol is deposited in the blood vessel, particularly in the places where the hypertension has caused injury. So the cholesterol is deposited there and results in stiffening of the blood vessel. So the blood vessel now becomes stiff. Ideally, and everybody just look on your arms, right? When you look on your arms, you see those blood vessels that you see over there. Now these are veins, but I'm going to use them to demonstrate what I'm trying to talk about. So there you have, everybody has veins on your arms. You can see these veins. Now rub your finger on the vein. Just rub your finger on the vein. You see how soft it is, right? In fact, most of you cannot even feel the vein at all. Once you press it, it collapses. That's how the normal vessel is supposed to behave. But when the vessel becomes atherosclerotic, it becomes stiff. It becomes hard as well. So you can actually begin to feel when you touch the vessel, you can actually now feel it between your palms. That's how thickened it becomes. And when that happens, it's not able to expand and contract anymore, which means that now when the blood gets into the penis, it's not able to fill it because the blood vessel will not even open up for the blood to go in. So hypertension itself damages the blood vessel and speeds up the development of atherosclerosis, which then results in inability or a slowing down of how much blood actually goes into the penis, which then results in your inability to achieve an erection or delay in getting an erection. And that's where the problems begin. You see, so hypertension itself will result in erectile dysfunction if you don't do anything about it. And so you need to, and the only way you can know whether you have hypertension or not, it's not a feeling, there is no symptom, it's by checking your blood pressure. So you have to check your blood pressure regularly so that if you notice that it's going up, then we can start intervention quickly. Having said that, atherosclerosis can also develop because you have a lot of cholesterol in your blood. So if you are eating a diet that is very rich in cholesterol, your risk of developing atherosclerosis is also high. So you want to mind your diet as well. Very important. Annie, good to have you here. Good to have you here. I've been here. You are the one that got missing. All right, so now if you can still hear me, do drop some hearts. Let me know that you can hear me. But on TikTok, on YouTube, let me know that you are still with me. So drop some hearts, like this video, subscribe to my channel. If you're on TikTok, do the same. Let me know that you can hear me. Good, good, good. Thank you very much. So YouTube, I'm waiting for you. Drop some hearts as well. Let me know that you can hear me, can interact with me. If you have a question, if you have any feedback, do drop it in the comment section as well. Let's know so I can attend to them as well quickly. All right, but moving on. So we also have diabetes as a cause of erectile dysfunction, and the way diabetes operates is even more sinister. if I should put it that way, the way diabetes operates is even more sinister. Diabetes will kill the nerves in your penis, such that you won't even have feelings in the first place. So I mean, your partner is ready for the action, but you can't even feel anything at all. So diabetes can actually lead to impotence by killing the nerves. You see, because there are nerves that would get stimulated. You know, when somebody touches your shoulder, you know that your shoulder has been touched. It's because the nerves are telling your brain that somebody has touched my shoulder. If somebody touched your nose, it's the nerves that will tell the brain that somebody has touched your nose. If there was fire here and you brought your hand close and you felt the heat, it's the nerves that are communicating to the brain that there is heat there. Don't go any closer, otherwise you get burnt. People with diabetes lose these nerves. Is the high sugar is toxic to the nerves. When the sugar level goes up, it kills the nerves, and this is why people with diabetes, especially those of you who have elderly people in your house who are diabetic, they don't actually feel anything in their legs, especially. So when this person is stepping on a nail, he or she is not even aware that she's stepping on a nail, and that's why diabetics end up getting amputations, because they are not aware that they are stepping on a nail. Then the place gets infected because they can't feel any pain. They don't even know that there's an infection there. So if somebody doesn't actually physically go and examine the foot, they wouldn't know, and then before long the wound becomes so big we can't do anything about it, and then the leg has to be cut off. That situation also happens in the penis as well. The nerves in the penis get killed off, and so the penis cannot respond normally to stimulation as it used to. So even when the blood is being sent to the penis for it to get erect, the penis is not ready because the nerves are not there to open up the vessels for the blood to enter. So then you struggle with erection. And like I said, diabetes can easily take you into impotence. You know, so it's something that you want to pay attention to. If you are diabetic, get your diabetes under control quickly. Get your sugar under control quickly so that it does not end you where you don't want to get to. Very important. All right. There are several other causes of erectile dysfunction that we are going to talk about. But as you join us, you can also share this with your friends and contacts as well. Let's invite people to join us so that we can all learn together. This is a very, very important subject, especially for men and definitely for women as well. Women who have men in their lives as well. Very, very important. Annie, thanks for the roses. Thank you very much. All right, so now we've talked about 3 causes of erectile dysfunction. We talked about stress. We've spoken about hypertension. We've spoken about diabetes. The next thing that we want to talk about is psychological, depression and anxiety. Now, this one, there are 2 aspects. Depression and anxiety as individual diseases can result in erectile dysfunction. Now, erectile dysfunction can also result in anxiety and depression, which then precipitates even more erectile dysfunction. So it sets off a vicious cycle, because if the first time you experience erectile dysfunction, it becomes, well, let me put it this way: the first time you experience erectile dysfunction, okay, since you've heard that it's normal, you're not too stressed. But then a few days later, you try again, and you have the similar thing. You struggle to get an erection. Now it begins to dawn on you that there could be something wrong. The average person, instead of fixing whatever is wrong, would now attribute the problem to him, or him not being good enough. And so subsequently, if he has to go and give it another shot, he is putting pressure on himself. What if it happens again? What if it happens again? And so because of that pressure that he's putting on himself, the probability that it will happen again is actually high. So that vicious cycle will feed into itself and become a major thing that needs psychological help to break through. You know, so what we say in medicine is that erectile dysfunction begets erectile dysfunction. You know, because once you have the erectile dysfunction, the probability of expecting it to happen again is high, and that anticipation makes you anxious, and then you are more likely to have it happen again. You know, so a depressed person can have erectile dysfunction, and a person with erectile dysfunction can develop depression. So the two are closely related. So we need to, as much as possible, report so that we can get the help that we need and break the cycle as soon as possible. All right. Now, all right, sorry about that. To fix something quickly. Now we can make progress. All right, so if you have any feedback, put it in the comment section. Thank you, Physio Diaries, for your comments. Thank you very much. All right, now let's not run away from another fact. Medication can cause erectile dysfunction. And so yes, hypertension medication can give you erectile dysfunction. It's a fact. We know it. You know. But the reason why we still continue to give hypertension medication to men is because not all men will have erectile dysfunction when they take hypertension medication. And so because we don't know whether a particular person will develop erectile dysfunction, we cannot withhold medication from him in that respect. So every man who has hypertension, we are going to prescribe medication to treat the hypertension, because if we don't treat the hypertension, he could end up with a stroke and then die, which is obviously a much bigger issue than erectile dysfunction. So every man needs to be treated, and we'll treat accordingly. Now, having said that, not all hypertension medication will cause erectile dysfunction. You know, there are particular medications that are notorious for causing erectile dysfunction, but like I said, not every man who takes them will develop erectile dysfunction, so we'll still go ahead and prescribe them anyway. What needs to happen is that, and this is why every person who gets a diagnosis of hypertension is not a one-time event. You go for review every so often so that we know the progress or the challenges, and then we can intervene if necessary. So what you need to do is to report back to your doctor if you have any erectile dysfunction or any challenges with any medication that you are taking, you know. But having said that, if hypertension medication is causing erectile dysfunction, there are ways and means of handling it. But if the disease hypertension itself is causing your erectile dysfunction, we really don't know. We really don't have anything we can do, because it's damaged. The damaged blood vessel cannot be replaced. And so I would rather you took the medication, and if there was erectile dysfunction, we dealt with it, than to not take the medication and then have the hypertension cause problems for you. So it's important that you take your medication. That's the bottom line. But indeed, medication is some other medication, even medication for treating depression, some of them can cause erectile dysfunction. So every medication has side effects. Even herbal medication, yes, I said it, herbal medication also has side effects. And so don't go listen to people who tell you that the herbal medication has no side effects. It's not true. Herbal medications do have side effects. And indeed, a lot of people with kidney failure today is as a result of taking herbal medication. So you don't want to get yourself in that situation at all. Make sure you are getting your advice from a qualified person so that you know that you are going to get the good outcome. All right. So some medication will cause erectile dysfunction. Smoking will, I repeat, smoking will speed up the development of atherosclerosis, which will then cause you to develop erectile dysfunction. So smoking is actually a big no-no for somebody who already has erectile dysfunction. I repeat, if you're already dealing with erectile dysfunction, one of the first things you want to stop is smoking if you are smoking. And if you don't smoke, don't even start at all, because it will worsen your outcome. You know, so don't get involved with smoking. It will cause you problems down there in your powerhouse. Then we also have obesity. Obesity can cause erectile dysfunction in several ways. If you're obese, the probability that you have a high cholesterol in your bloodstream is high, which will lead to atherosclerosis. Obesity can also cause hormonal imbalance, which means that your testosterone levels might fall, which would precipitate erectile dysfunction, because testosterone is a very, very key player when it comes to arousal and performance and sex and all of those things. So you want to keep your weight within normal limits as much as possible. Very important. So these are a few. This list of causes is not exhaustive, but these are some of the causes of erectile dysfunction that you need to be aware of. And as you realize, most of them are related to your lifestyle. And so once you are living a healthy lifestyle, all these things are going to sort of take care of themselves, because hypertension, diabetes are all lifestyle related diseases. Stress is also lifestyle related, because you chose the work you are doing pretty much. For all intents and purposes, you chose to work there, and you decided to do the overtime. You decided to live far away and go to work in another city. So all these are choices, and as a result of the choices we made, we are paying the price. And so you need to find a way of getting a balance. especially when we are talking about stress. You need to find a way of getting a balance. If you're going to take periodic breaks from work just to go, ease the stress, reduce the pressure, it's very important. It's good for you. It's even good for your mental health. So don't get yourself too worked up all the time, because it will definitely affect your sex life. And there are definitely benefits of sex, right? But that's for a separate video. So sex is important. So make sure that you don't sacrifice it for anything. Very important. So if you are hypertensive, please get your blood pressure under control. If you are diabetic, get your blood sugar under control. If you are stressed, please find an outlet for that stress and reduce it, so that you can enjoy life, because there's a lot to enjoy. Now, let's quickly go on and talk about treatment options, so that we can wrap this up. But before we go on, if you have any question, if you have any feedback, do drop it in the comment section. Let me hear from you. If you can still hear me, go ahead and then type and then drop some hearts as well, so that I know that you can still hear me on TikTok, on YouTube. Good to have you all here. Now, Fred has a question. Should we totally avoid herbal medication? Well, I wouldn't say you should totally avoid herbal medication. It's an option out there as well. There are alternatives that we have to the conventional medication that we are taking. However, what I'll say is that make sure that you are getting your herbal medication from the right source. See, because it's herbal, every Tom, Dick, and Harry thinks that they are herbal practitioner, and so they are out there bottling all sorts of things and putting them out on the market, claiming that they do X, Y, and Z. Please make sure that the medication you're taking has been properly tested, so that you know the dose. You cannot go and buy medicine and they tell you that take 1 cup. What's the cup? A cup could be as big as my head or as small as my nose. That obviously is not a good enough standardization. So please make sure that you are getting proper medication from proper sources to treat your whatever it is that you are dealing with them, and it's duly licensed or certified by the agencies, by the authorized agencies. Very important. All right, now let's move on and talk about treatment options out there. First of all, you must understand that we do not treat erectile dysfunction. Erectile dysfunction is a symptom like headache. If you go and take paracetamol, you have not treated what caused the headache. You've only taken something to reduce the pain that you're experiencing, so that if the headache is being caused by malaria, once the paracetamol wears off, the headache will be right there waiting for you. Until you treat the malaria, the headache will not go anywhere. It's the same with erectile dysfunction. If you don't identify the cause and you go taking medication, you end up with complication, because the problem is still there, it's still persisting, and now you now compound it by adding side effects to your problem. Because like I said, every medication has side effects. So if you are just taking a medication without proper guidance, you could end up in trouble. So we need to find the cause. So you need to go in, have a discussion with your medic, and then conclude. I'm sure you run some tests, because we will probably run a hormone panel, we run a hypertension panel, diabetes. We'll screen to know what is the likely cause of the erectile dysfunction that you're experiencing. And once we identify that cause, then we need to treat that cause. So if your problem is hypertension, we need to get your blood pressure under control. Because you see, the sex is not very important in your body. Your body does not consider sex very important. So when you have any chronic disease that is poorly controlled, one of the first areas that your body will shut down is your sex life. Because if it does not shut down your sex life, the probability that you will die on the job, you understand that, or die on the job, right, is very, very high. We've heard stories about men who went into a hotel to go and have a good time, and they ended up dying. When you force it, you will die. And so the body will shut down your sexual function to preserve your life. So once you have a chronic disease, you want to treat that chronic disease, so that once it gets under control, you realize that your sexual function will actually return. You can do whatever you want to do. So focus on the cause. So if it's hypertension, get the blood pressure under control. If it's diabetes, get the blood sugar under control. If it's stress, deal with it, because stress will eventually result in development of hypertension. So you don't want to play with that at all. So we do not necessarily treat the ED, we treat the cause. If it's a psychological problem, get a psychologist, see a psychologist, and they will definitely help you overcome these challenges. If you need any form of help, you can always reach out to me. My handles are all active, and we'll definitely see how we can help you, because it's very, very important. And I'm stressing again, yes, there are medications that you can take that will enhance your sexual experience. I'm sure you know the common one, Viagra, But if you took Viagra for the wrong reason, you could end up in the emergency room. And interestingly, I have actually attended to a young gentleman who took Viagra and ended up with a 4-hour erection. The guy almost lost his penis. You see, because again, remember that the erection is blood that has been locked in the penis. So the length of time the blood is locked in there, it will determine is the length of time that your erection will be there. Whilst the blood is locked in the penis, the penile cells are depending on that blood to get oxygen, which means that at some point the oxygen in the blood will get finished. And obviously at that point, you have to let the blood go for new blood to come in. If the blood does not go, the penile cells will begin to die. So you may have had a condition called priapism. Priapism simply means that when the blood entered the penis, the blood could not come back out. So the penis is erect, the oxygen in the blood is finished, the penile cells are dying, so they are sending out pain signals. The body's response to lack of oxygen is pain, which is why when somebody is getting a heart attack, there's pain, because the cells in the heart are dying, so they are reaching out, we are in pain, so pain is how the cells communicate lack of oxygen. So when the blood stays there too long, it becomes painful, and after 4 hours, the penile cells will never recover again. And so it's an emergency actually. So that gentleman was rushed to theater with his penis standing straight like that. And it was in theater that we cut into the penis and then removed the old blood before the new blood was able to go in there. So it's a big deal. So do not just take medicine because somebody said that to help your erectile dysfunction. Find out what is causing the erectile dysfunction and then deal with the cause so that the ripple effect will be a resolution of the erectile dysfunction. The next thing is lifestyle. You need to improve your physical activity, because if your heart is not healthy, your penis cannot perform. Your penis is dependent on your heart. So stop focusing everything on your penis. Stop focusing on eating food that will make your penis bigger, eating food that will make you last longer. Focus on your heart. If your heart is in a good place, trust me, your penis will follow suit. So focus on physical activity, jogging, swimming, tennis. These are very good physical exercises that you can do to improve your tolerance. Very, very important. And then watch your diet as well. Don't eat diets that are very rich in cholesterol, because your body naturally produces its own cholesterol. So you don't want to bring in new cholesterol. So if you can cut down, if you can reduce it, reduce it. If you can cut it out completely, even better. Because your body produces its own cholesterol. But I mean, a healthy balanced diet is definitely a plus. Fruits and vegetables, very important. They contain antioxidants that would help recover some of the lost, keep your tissues healthy. Let's put it that way. Keep your kidneys working as well. So you want to support it by eating lots of fruits and vegetables, and so many other healthy habits that you can pick up. If you smoke, please stop smoking. I already said that smoking will not help you, will not be of any benefit to you. So please avoid smoking as much as possible. All right. So in summary, erectile dysfunction refers to two things: a difficulty achieving erection or a difficulty sustaining an erection. Impotence is when you are unable to have an erection at all. So erectile dysfunction, if poorly handled, will eventually result in impotence. We don't want to get there, so we deal with it now when we have a chance. Premature ejaculation is not related to this in any way. Some men with erectile dysfunction also have premature ejaculation, but premature ejaculation is not the same as erectile dysfunction. It's a separate condition on its own. We'll talk about it another time. But for today, our focus is on premature ejaculation and impotence. And I hope that I've clarified things for you. If this session has been relevant to you, you can do two things for me. One, drop some hearts in there, and two, subscribe to my channel and share with people. I have lots of information on my YouTube channel, so if you haven't followed me on YouTube, please go there, subscribe to my YouTube, and let's build this community together. Lots and lots of things you can learn when it comes to health. Fred, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much, each and every one of you, for being here. And thank you for those who join us on YouTube as well. It's good to come your way once again. See you next week with another topic. If there's something that you want us to talk about next week, Thursday, please drop it in my inbox and let's see how we can make it happen. Until then, have a fabulous time. Stay blessed. Signing out. A million CCO boy.